गुड इवनिंग यूट्यूब, क्या हाल चाल। मेरा नाम अरविंद है एंड वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल फिलोसोफर ऑन व्हील्स। ये हमारी चैनल की ये दूसरी वीडियो है। काफ़ी महीने पहले मैंने ये जो बाइक आप देख पा रहे हैं, इसको मैंने ख़रीदा था और ख़रीदने के बाद इसको मैंने 10,000 किलोमीटर चला ली है। सो आई थॉट इट्स अ गुड टाइम टू पोस्ट माई 10,000 किलोमीटर रिव्यू which I have accomplished in something less than 7 months time. So coming forward, this is BENELLI TRK 502 2023 edition. I have done a bit amount of customizations on this motorcycle to just make it as comfortable as possible for my rides. Just to boast a little bit about myself, in this 10,000 kilometers includes a 1610 kilometer under 24 hours for Ironbird challenge. Thereafter a ride from Kochi to Goa, and all this were done within a span of 15 days. And thereafter I have been on numerous rides across Kerala, across the various terrains like the mountains, sometimes in sand, and I would like to give you a review of this motorcycle. For the sake of the benefit of all the viewers, I'd like to break down my review into 3 parts. In this video, we'll be covering what's good and why one should buy this motorcycle. In the part 2, I will be cutting it down to all the negatives of this motorcycle. And in the part 3 of the video, I'm going to be discussing what is the balanced view about this motorcycle and who should be particularly looking forward to buy this motorcycle. So I'll begin with the benefits or the good points about this motorcycle. But just a preface to that, BENELLI TRK 502 is not just anybody's average motorcycle. It will have its good points, but there are certain specific reasons why it is so. Firstly, you need to be an experienced motorcyclist, a rider, to be taming this bull. It is just not everybody's cup of tea to get onto a heavy motorcycle, which I'm sure you would be aware by now, and start riding it. Secondly, it comes in the category called Grand Tourers. So if I like to give some comparisons, if not the same, in the same weight category, but it will be BMW 1250 GS, GSA, the 850 GS, the Multistrada Ducati, even maybe to an extent the Suzuki V-Strom 650. All these are those vehicles which come in the certain Grand Tourer categories. And Grand Tourers are infamously known for their weight too. This particular motorcycle is 235 kilograms, so it justifies its purpose. And just so that you may know, there is a Grand Tourer Turismo word written right underneath where my phone holder is. That's where I'm pointing it to. And so that people might know, I have done 10,436 kilometers as on date, and today is the 29th of February 2024. So I like to get on with the benefits. Point number 1 is the looks, the design, the appearance. I think the first time when I saw this motorcycle standing in the Vaitla showroom here in Kochi, I just fell for its curves. I need to be honest, I'm a male, I go for my curves. Whenever there is something curvy, it always catches my attention. Look at its design. The perfectly made tank silhouette, then the seat and the pillion seat. It's all in a certain curvature. Even the beak blends so perfectly with the tank structure. And the rest of the facade which is there where the TRK is written, they are also equally beamy. It gives the bike a certain bull-like appearance. So I've just tried to give you a top view of this motorcycle. Look at the structure. When you sit on this position, when you see it and you're looking ahead, you know you are riding something. You are not just riding an average bike. It is not just another commuter bike. It's not a Royal Enfield. And all credit goes to these motorcycles, but when you ride this, it is something special. And to ride it, one needs to be someone who has done motorcycling for some amount of time. To my credit, I have 13 to 14 years of being on motorcycles, starting with Royal Enfields, and eventually I graduated to this bike. So if I have to give certain score to all these, then I think it will be a 10 on 10 for my motorcycle when it comes to its looks. Point number 2 is where what the company has done justice to this bike for it to become a Grand Tourer. Point number one, a grand tourer needs to be planted on the ground. It needs to be so planted and so well seated on the road, on the tarmac, that you don't feel any issue while riding. You don't feel like you will fly off if you hit a small stone or something on the road, and you just don't fly off. You need to remain planted. The weight of this motorcycle, which again is its negative, I'll come back to it, but at this point in time, the weight of this vehicle helps this motorcycle to remain planted on the road. It remains planted. You can feel that your wheels have dug into the tarmac. So that kind of a feeling builds in a little bit of confidence into the motorcyclist. Secondly, when it comes to the aspect of its purpose, is its large tank. It's a 20-liter tank, by the way, fellows. 20-liter tank giving me a mileage of around 25, which is again a mileage which I wanted to come up, bring it up sometime later as one of those what do you call, the pros of this motorcycle. 25 kilometers what I get on such a heavy motorcycle. Therefore I get average full tank capacity of 450 to 500, depending upon the condition that I'm riding, depending upon my pillion and weight of the pillion, if she is there, or if I'm carrying an extra luggage or whatever. If I'm carrying anything extra, it gives me 25, and I have got sufficient records to prove it. I'm not bluffing, because I got a GPS installed on this motorcycle. So the GPS gives me accurate kilometer readings, and has a fuel log set up too. So I get to measure the fuel log, and on the basis of the fuel log is what all my claims are. So you have a large tank, then you have a very tall visor, you have a seat. This is not a seat, fellas. This is a sofa. This is a sofa where you and your pillion can sit in comfort, take rest on the back of the what do you call, the tank, on the top case, and you are always ready to tour. There is no dearth of comfort on this motorcycle. So if you are always in comfort, trust me, when I do iron butt ride 24 hours on the saddle, this is totally factory make. This is stock condition. There is absolutely nothing that I added onto the seats or onto the handlebars or anywhere to make it more comfortable to me. There is no dampener, no suspensions change, nothing which has been done to this. This vehicle in its stock condition is already prepared for you to start going on your long trips. And that's where I love the design and what the designers have put as a thought into making this motorcycle. Point number 3, which I would like to again highlight as the pros of this motorcycle, is the amount of free customization which comes with this motorcycle. At a price tag of around 5,95,000, I would say most of the Indians would feel this is an extremely costly motorcycle. But please give me a patient hearing. You see this saddle stay on both sides comes custom. If you could see the visor which is there, the major visor which is there, comes custom. The knuckle guards come customs. The lower crash guard, that also comes custom. So when all these things are coming custom with the motorcycle, stock condition right out of the factory, and I think that has pretty much covered up and also justifies the point that the makers of this motorcycle have really put their heart into designing it, and this did not make any motorcycle and throw it into the market. I would also like to compliment India Benelli for bringing this thing out, the number plate stand. If you know, in the older Himalayan 411, this number plate was stuck somewhere inside, and there were a lot of Kerala riders who were getting challan for that. So speaking of the benefit number 4 is the quality of the stuffs of the items which have been provided along with this motorcycle. I like to bring special mention to all these buttons which have been provided. I would not say they are worthy of a 6 lakh motorcycle, but when you know it comes out of a Chinese factory, I must say they are of pretty good standard. They are not malfunctioned any point in time. Therefore, I am really happy with it. They have also given a key, which in today's condition is not something unique about it, but then it folds like this and opens like that. So that is also a plus point. They are given a analog digital console, So that is also something, I will not say modern, but still does the job pretty well. And also, if you could see, there is a pre-installed GPS mount on this motorcycle, so you don't have to pay extra money. So all these extra accessories which I just mentioned could simply add another 70-75,000. Even if you go for some really branded items like GB and so on, this price would just go on to maybe even a lakh and a half or so. So that if you add to your other motorcycles, I'm pretty sure that that would match up with the price of this motorcycle. Coming to the point number 5 regarding the design of this vehicle is its performance. Now, having driven 10,000 kilometers on this thing, one of the very big criteria for me to choose a motorcycle when I was graduating from the previous one is how good is the performance, how good is this 500cc. On record, it has a 14.8 correction bhp horsepower and 47 newton meter of torque, which kicks in at around the mid rpms of 5000 rpm. So I was not very sure if this motorcycle would be able to justify its weight vis-a-vis its power. But oh boy, oh, this motorcycle during the entire 1600 kilometer it did for my Ironbird challenge, एक बार भी इसने चू करके एक आवाज़ नहीं निकाली. And I was so impressed with its performance that at certain times I was wondering, have I done something wrong, or has the first service made some changes to this motorcycle? But I was not surprised, because this is supposed to be performing like this, and there's a reason this motorcycle has been a hot selling one in the European countries, especially Italy, and in China, of course, from where it originates. Speaking on the quality of the parts, I would like to also bring to notice the extremely high quality of the parts which have been used in the present 2023 edition. So if somebody is planning to buy a motorcycle which is pre-23 edition, I'm sure many of them would be saying of rusting issues. There will be people saying, this thing just got bent, the alloy wheels got bent, I fell into a ditch. There are certain frequent complaints which were being heard from the BENELLI circle. But I took this on an off-road tour. I took it on a tour in the jungle for the off-road training, then on the hills, on the slope where the roads were not fully tarmacked and broken. It did its job. For its weight, I felt at many point in time the alloys would crack or it would bend. But this vehicle has now improved on its part, and this I can corroborate because I had a chance to speak to one of the very senior executives of BENELLI India, and he has said on record to me that most of the parts, and he particularly pointed out, I don't want to tell which are the parts which have been changed these days. There have been certain points which have been now created afresh, and they are of better quality, and they have been given to Indian TRKs. So those erstwhile problems are history now. These new products and these new items which have come with a better quality, I'm sure they will justify why now it has to be purchased, why this motorcycle deserves to be bought, why it should be made your average daily or your weekend tourer at any point in time. And finally, I like to come to the most pertinent question which happens with BENELLI motorcycles when it comes to their purchase is, how much does it vibrate? Because BENELLI motorcycles in India have been very infamous for their high level of vibrations even at low RPM, and which only just starts exponentially and going annoying when it goes into the higher RPMs. This motorcycle has vibrations, ladies and gentlemen, at every RPM range, from the thousands where it is as idling all the way till 5,000, 6,000 when it is touching the 100 kilometer mark. But the real vibration which can upset any experienced rider is in between the speed ranges of 1200 120 to 130 kilometer per hour. The 10 kilometer range is where you get the maximum annoying vibration. That too, especially in the pedals. It's not up on the handlebars, it's only in the pedals and maybe a bit on your seat and quite a little bit more on the tanks. But these are the parts not which you are directly connected with, so you are not going to experience it that much. Of course, if it was there on the handlebars, I would have said that, oh, this is a very big vibrating machine. But all the other vibrations which I said in the other RPM ranges are also felt when you are having it in on your pedals. Now I think as long as you're not riding an electric motorcycle, there will be some amount of vibration, and vibration is something that you will have to accept as part of owning parallel twin engine, which I did not big mention of. This is a parallel twin engine, 251 cc engines which are working in tandem, generating that kind of horsepower. So that's it. I think I've covered fairly every aspect of its customizations, correction, its pros, and why this motorcycle should be considered. And just only the one last point I would like to add: as part of all the customizations that they are given, factory fitted, is also a base mount variant which you can mount your top case. So that is also pre-installed. You don't have to buy it also again separately. Everything is provided by the OEM, that is Benelli motorcycles. So if there is any doubt, you have any queries, if you have any questions that you would like to ask about why or how good is it to own this motorcycle, please free to contact me, and I'd be more than happy to get back to each one of you. So see you until the next part, wherein I'll be discussing in detail all the negatives of this motorcycle. So till then, take care, eat good food, and stay safe. Good night.